Welcome back to AM Live, and with me in the studio I have actually Wanja Maina, Cynthia, Wanjiko, Valentine, Otieno on the other side. She's joining us from Kisumu County. Wanja, before we took the break, I cut you short and you're responding to Kanini Kega's statement, and you're saying there are things you agree with, like the issues he raised on what is plaguing Mount Kenya, although Cynthia disagreed with you on the question of Mount Kenya being marginalized. But you disagreed with his statement that Rigathi Gachagua should be anointed the spokesperson for the Mount Kenya community.
Yeah, and in any case, the spokesperson and the so-called anointing, it should be a desire, a very natural, a very beautiful, very organic desire from the people who are being led, and not necessarily an imposition by leaders who are promoting the ideologies of other leaders.
Okay. All right, so yeah. Because I want us to move on shortly to look at the issue of mentorship. Wanjiko, do you agree?
I like the issues that our Deputy President brings forth, especially that plague Mount Kenya. But I concur with Wanja. Kingmanship, just because you hold the highest seat within Mount Kenya, as a person coming from Mount Kenya, that doesn't automatically throw you as the kingpin.
So are you marginalized?
Yes, we are marginalized, especially when it comes into the issues of bursaries. Olive. We get 2,000 Kenya shillings. Like, look at, for example, at Ruiru constituency, when MP was handing out bursaries, a woman died, a parent died, while going to get a 2,000 Kenya shillings bursary. Well, there's someone who gets in a different region 50,000. And when we look at Mount Kenya region, what we collect at revenues in our counties, we really contribute to the basket, national basket, wholly. So I think we also demand better, and I love that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua is. This
is now Kanini Kega, though we are quoting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kanini Kega. Well, Cynthia, I know I wanted you to explain why you were smiling when the Mount Kenya people were saying they're marginalized in the room. And I know one of the things Kanini Kega actually talked about was the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. What do you make of his statements regarding Mount Kenya people? And that now has to do with what is now on the front page of Taifa Leo. Adai katika idhaa ya radio kuwa rais ameanza kupuuza Mlima Kenya.
From his sentiments and from what my sister Valentine said, sometimes when it comes to politics, I feel like the president is really focusing in 2027, because from history, the mountain is very slippery. It's usually slippery. So I feel like the president is trying to focus in other areas to at least find somewhere to fall back to in case the mountain becomes slippery to him.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Valentine, conclude this one for us.
Thank you very much, Olive. Personally, I think that there shouldn't be that kingmanship, but in the mountain, because first of all, the people of the mountain are very blessed. My sisters and brothers from the mountain are blessed. They have the most government appointments, and once you have very many political leaders coming from your region, that also means that it also translates into a lot of development, which we as people from the Luonyans, we are lacking. And, we are only pushing to get where the mountain is. When you talk about marginalization, I think there are areas that are more marginalized than the mountain. I agree also with Kanini Kega on the issues of alcoholism and such things. I think they should be addressed. And maybe the president hasn't forgotten about the mountain. The president is just a president for all. He has the burden of the whole country on him. And therefore, they should just give him maybe a little time to deliver on his promises.
All right. But, I'm curious, why when I said where Kanini Kega falls, because if I was to draw a line on what I like, on a light note, called Jubilee Asili and Jubilee Kwanza, Jubilee Kenya, Jubilee Kenya, Jubilee Asili and Jubilee Kenya. Kanini Kega has been, you know, when you're talking about political party loyalty, if Azimio was the party, and it is in this case, shifted allegiances to William Ruto's camp. But when you hear him say, you know, Raila was not the problem, that these are the problems, and you all seem to agree that there are bigger issues than Raila Odinga in Mount Kenya, that he's not the boogeyman he was made out to be, is what I understand Kanini Kega to say. When he talks about essentially there has been a handshake, it has just not, it's just, there's no literal shaking of hands, a ceremony outside Harambee House. When you hear that, Wanja, what does that tell you about Kanini Kega? Is he somewhere in the middle, and is that the kind of politician we need that can criticize where necessary and can cooperate where necessary?
It seems like in his intentions maybe to go to the other side to get a few things, there are some ends of his bargain that he cannot tell us publicly that were not met. He's jilted. You see, it's like a romantic relationship where the new catch is giving you fairer promises vis-a-vis the marriage you are in, as it were. So now when you leave this marriage, assuming that the new marriage things are going to be juicy, you realize it was just hot air, for lack of a better word. He's jilted, and that's why he has started poking fun at the other side, but he's hiding behind the interest of the mountain. But we also know that based on how he disrespected multipartyism as it is, at the end there are some personal gains that he's not getting from that side, and that's why he has to throw a few kicks in the air, all in the name of getting attention. The Mount Kenya does not have a shortage of good leaders. We don't have a shortage of spokesmen and women who can raise our issues. We know how we get our leaders. Our Wananchi has not said that the current kingpinship, there is no vacuum, there is no lacuna, there is no vacuum to be filled, and that's why he's agitating for new kingpinships and spokesmen. So what we are seeing here is just an individual who is quite self-centered, an individual who is keen to get attention, who is jilted on the other side. We can only sympathize with him.
Okay, so I will leave that there and ask us to look at the issue of mentorship in the political space, especially for women, given your experiences. And I know I have not given it enough time, but I will invite you back, ladies. When I look at page 16 of the Standard, there's an opinion piece that has been penned by one Francis Kwanzu, and he's a teacher at St. Austin's Academy in Lavington, Nairobi. And he says, mentorship programs laying firm foundation for our youths. Wanjiko, has there been somebody in your political journey? I assume 2022 was the first time you stood for a political seat. Has there been somebody who has been holding your hand? I know you ran as an independent. Those in parties, perhaps Chairman Raila Kushika Mkono. But has there been somebody, a mentor, who has been working with you?
Yes, gladly I've had mentors who have worked with me in my leadership journey, because I also vied for the Maendeleo Wanawake seat in 2014, and I've been since then part of national leadership in politics. And it's been both women and men. So it's just not been women contributing to the leader I am today. It's been both women and men. And one of them is Daisy Amdani, who is not really at front politics, but at the back end supporting women in leadership. And I'm grateful that she has taken her time as a senior woman to mentor me and work with me through this journey. Indirectly, mentorship, Honorable Martha Karua, I mean, just watching her be the leader that she is, how she has handled herself, her politics, she has indirectly mentored me. I've seen other women such as Charity Ngilu, who has done phenomenal work. So what we say, the gap that is missing is that there's no, as such, direct mentorship, which we'd love to see, but there have also been indirect mentorship.
Okay.
Yes.
How about for you, Cynthia? Because if you look at it in the current setup, there are very few women who are in elective office, and there are those who take the scarcity mentality, because there are only so many nominated positions to go around, even as there's a push for the realization of the two-thirds principle, that not more than two-thirds shall be of the same gender in parliament. That's where the sticking point is. Yes. But with the nomination slots available, there are only so many. So wouldn't women then undercut each other?
Olive, whatever you said is really true, because when I look back at my political journey and drawing from my experiences, I'd say when it comes to mentorship and intergenerational mentorship, because that's what we are talking about right now, those who held my hand came in the form or the shape and size of peer mentorship, because I found myself falling back to run for office, which was youth-led. And unfortunately, when we talk about intergenerational mentorship, I had no one who was older than me who held my hand directly, but I'd make a few phone calls here and there from the different gender. We have people who are advising me from the different gender. But again, let's cut some slack for these older women, because I realize that once you are in that powerful position, or once you are in office, you have so many people who are looking up to you, you know, and sometimes there can be mentorship burnout. So when you approach these people, you need to be very specific on what aspect of political mentorship do you need. Is it campaign strategies? Is it fundraising? Is it public speaking? Yeah. Okay.
Valentine, I know you talked about, you are contesting the woman rep seat, and when we're talking about Udikteta katika chama cha ODM, you said you had it rough because you were running against the party leader's sister in that instance. What has been the role, if any, of mentorship in your political journey?
Well, first of all, my political journey, the fact that I, decided to vie at the age of 22 was a very rare one. And so I started off, alone and with a number of youth behind my back. And you find that on the way, I found so many mentors, so many people came along to help me. And these are men and women. Women, for example, when I just started, Millie Mabona called me and, she bought me my very first campaign t-shirts that I used. And in that way, you realize that this gave me some courage to continue moving forward, because it's not an easy journey. It's not very easy coming out a young woman in politics with no experience and just throwing yourself out there. But also on the other negative side, you find that women are also their own enemies. For example, in this post that I was vying for, we were all women. So it was a war. We had to fight against each other. And in this, you might find there might have been a throwing of words here and there. There might have been, because, for example, me, I vied with very, very older women who have held several national government positions, county government positions. But then when you're competing against each other, you are not supporting each other. So you'll only find support from women whose interests are not aligning to yours. But along my journey, I've met very good women who have really supported me. And this support also comes indirectly when you see women like Gladys Wanga, even though we are not in the same political party, she really inspires a lot of young people, even if not directly. And we expect that women who have gone before us should, come down here and hold hands of other young women, because you realize that politics is a man's world. And if you're a woman, you have it hard. And you have it even twice as hard if you are a young woman. Like my friend who has just said that, she vied and she didn't get any support. It's very normal. Most women do not even support each other. But I'm calling upon all women political leaders to come out, because women political participation is a fundamental prerequisite for gender equality. If we want more women in politics, we're going to have to empower more younger women. We're going to have to empower these people and hold their hands. Yes.
All right. There's something Valentine said that had Wanjiko and Cynthia going no.
You know, it's such an untrue statement when we say that women are their own enemies. What does that mean, really? Because women are not homogeneous. What we do is that we hold women into a higher or a longer yardstick. But women are also human beings. They are competitive. When it comes to politics, we are running for the same seat. So it's competition, just like men who compete against each other. So do we women also compete against each other, because the seat you're running for actually is just one seat that is just an affirmative seat. The rest, both genders are into place. So don't expect me to be nice. I'm also running against you. And then again, we only have, right today in Parliament, only have 23% of women in Parliament. The 23% can't hold all of us, young women, our hands. I mean, we really expect so much from them. But what we can do is just ask, and who actually, they do respond when we call them for conferences, for fellowships. Like Millicent Ongmanga was with us in Uganda for the African Women Leaders Institute. She took her time and came to mentor us. But saying that women are our own enemies, it's untrue. It's really untrue, because we support each other. But when it comes to opportunities that we are running for office, as in it's competition, just like anyone else. May the one with the best party, the best manifesto win. Okay,
if allow me to be devil's advocate.
Yes.
If women supported each other, you are the majority in Kenya. Would we not have more women in elective office?
Thank you. See, we have a long history of patriarchy in Kenya. Kenya is such a patriarchal country, and I can speak to it because I also ran for office and I was at the grassroots level speaking to women. But we've grown up knowing that women don't deserve leadership positions. Leadership positions are for men. So you find somebody who has grown up in a system, in a social institution, that she has been ingrained that as a woman, or as fellow women are not supposed to occupy leadership positions. They're supposed to be male positions. And that's even when you see, even in churches, women are not as present as men, even in leadership. So women become enablers of patriarchy. That's a blind side. That's a hidden bias. So you, when I come to campaign for you, you tell me, but you're supposed to be at home to support your husband, or why aren't you married? Or if you get married, won't you go and live to your husband's home and leave this community? So the work even has to go back to our community and re-educate them that leadership doesn't only belong to men, it also belongs to women. And in fact, we have the population, actually slightly more than half the population. We deserve half the representation, Olive.
All right. Wanja, is there a place for mentorship? Does it make a difference in politics?
Thanks, Olive, but just like my friends have said here, there are women we admire. Some are outside of our reach, but just by virtue of watching them, how they carry themselves, how they articulate issues. For example, there is a senator in UDA, her name is Okeyuri, Esther, Essie. There's something about her demeanor, there's something about her well-stitched suits, there's something about how she articulates youth issues that leaves me mentored. Now, why I've used Esther is because I know Esther is my age mate. So this whole issue of a mentorship, even by how we have tried to answer the questions, it is assumed is here mentoring here. But for me, I see it as even cross-peer kind of mentorship, because she's my age mate, but I admire her a lot and she knows that. So something else about this mentorship, as it were, the traditional mentorship is like more of someone on top, like talking down on someone on down. But I also see the role of also reverse mentorship. Say Wanjiko here. Wanjiko is very good with social media. All her things, all her politics. In fact, this post, I'm sure she had it immediately on the social platform, even before I saw mine on WhatsApp. Is that something she can teach other women in leadership, even if they're older? Yes. So this mentorship thing should not necessarily be so hierarchical that you have to be here to be here. It can be cross. I can learn something from Wanjiko, from Cynthia, even from Esther and others. But that said, just as my friends have said, is that we have had a long history of patriarchy, but also a long history of culture that holds our women back. Now, we celebrated 60 years of independence the other day, 2 days ago, 4 days ago. Now, it should concern us that since the time we got independence...
It's coming up. Jamhuri. What we celebrated was Mashujaa.
Mashujaa. But we shall celebrate Jamhuri this year, I think.
Yes.
So it's around
59
years. Forgive my ignorance. But what I wanted to say is that since the time we got independence to the time Jomo Kenyatta, the founding president, died, there was no woman in cabinet. When Moi came in for the 24 years he was in, it was him who had the first woman in cabinet. Her name was Niva Mwendwa. And we have seen progress, painful progress that has been so slow to the time when we had Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, who had around 6 women in cabinet, and now we have 7 women in cabinet, or 8. What am I saying? Has there been progress? Yes. Is it as fast as it should be? No. Look at the issue of governors. One of the beauty of the new constitution was governorships. In 2013, did we have a female governor? 0. In 2017, we had 3, but 1 passed on. May her soul rest in peace. Now we have 7. That is progress still, but it is also quite slow progress. So when we talk about this mentorship and when we talk about the challenges we are facing overall as women across the ages, there are some things that are so common. Issues of sexual harassment happen across women in leadership across the age brackets. Issues of retrogressive culture where a brother who is less qualified can be perceived to be a better leader in the clanism community than the sister who is bright and is a lawyer. That is an issue to do with culture. So we are coming from a cultural extraction that just put women at the bottom of the barrel, whichever way you look at it.
Okay.
That said, I have admired many women across the political divide, even those in corporate, Professor Jacqueline Odwal, Mheshimiwa Priscilla Nyokabi. They are women you look and you admire. And if I have an additional minute, whenever we talk about women leadership and women empowerment, we say that amongst the things that women face across the ages, the challenges that even prevent that mentorship, one of them is women are made to look ridiculous. Even the caricatures and the cartoons. And I'm sorry to say, even though I'm in a media house, the media houses have also contributed to create that, not all media houses at least, but some of them, where women are just painted to be dramatic and cartoons. When you look at the cartoons of women leaders, they have long lips, red lipstick, short skirt, as if they don't know where they're going. Women have been made to be invisible. Their achievements are minimized. Women do the most work, but they are seen to take little credit. Women have been double punished, where when one woman makes a mistake, they say, you know, you women. So if there is a generalization, even young people, it is also a challenge you face. You say, you know, you people are taking a lot of alcohol. So people take you as jokers, but all of you agree with us, all of us here are young. But have we taken a lot of alcohol? Not quite.
None, but I know.
Yeah, we have, not that you know. We have been burdened with shame, with double standards. Are you married? Wanjiko will be asked, are you married? Oh, no, where are the children? Before they will put you in another pedestal of not being married and there are no children, before you talk about your manifesto, you've gone through other 4 hurdles, or is it barriers? Women have been constantly, there has been a lot of withholding of information for women to make better decisions. You'll find that there was a meeting before Wanjiko arrived in the morning. So when she's there in the morning to talk about Kumbe, there was another meeting there in the evening that she did not know of. But my challenge will go back to the Kenyans, because at the end of the day, ni mwananchi, they are the ones who elect leaders. We really need to reconfigure ourselves and look at those of us who are here as people who can make better leaders. Globally, the countries that had women leaders...
I have to stop you there, Wanja, so that I can also have Valentine come in at this point. Valentine, first of all, your response to Wanjiko and Cynthia taking issue with you saying women are sometimes their own worst enemy, although you really Peter, but you caught it. But the other day I was listening to Beth Mugo. She was interviewed for Women in Power after the launch of her book by One Rose Wangoi. And something she said is that unlike previously, women now are so involved in the politics of political parties that they have forgotten the sisterhood, the women's agenda, elevating fellow women. Your thoughts, Valentine?
of the matter is that political parties are the best institutions that can foster and even force intergeneration mentorship. That this is through the nominations that we have been doing, like the Senate only nominates women, and having training and capacity building events, you know, to foster and to push the women agenda. Take, for example, Governor Wanga, you know, she was given the nomination ticket by the party, which if she hadn't been given, maybe it would have been very hard for her to compete against her male counterparts. So what I said about women being their own enemies, we all know that it's true. It's not all the time, and it's not with all women. It is also very rare, but you find that in these political parties, especially when it comes to people fighting for these nomination spaces and all of that, then you might find women actually turning against each other. And we all know also that, especially I only want to urge the political parties to continue pushing this thing for women, and to urge, my fellow women to continue supporting each other and to help the young women realize their potential and become leaders rather than just being, functionaries. Let's take a look, for example, what happened to Senator Gloria Oroba in the Senate. I expected to see a very good number of women, standing with her and supporting her, but to my dismay, that didn't happen. And maybe that is because of whatever happened. But in politics, we need to, hold the hands over the women and then, show them the way. And if we really want to push this agenda of women mentorship, then we need to bring more women into leadership positions, train more women, boost their skills, and then we are going to go, further as women. So instead of fighting each other, fighting for positions, we should just, stay as one people and support each other. We realize that women power is a very strong power. Women build homes here. Women, we take care of families. And so going forward, Women for Women agenda should continue to be pushed, and more women should just continue supporting each other.
All right. Wanjiko, I have 3 questions, so one in a minute each, then we can conclude. But Wanjiko, the point is, the other day I was listening to the registrar of political parties, and she was saying everybody wants to register a political party. Are women registering their own political parties? How many political parties do we have that are owned, quote unquote, by women?
Olive,
I know you ran as an independent.
Yes, Olive. And that is also because, again, that my party leader did not endorse me, because, party leaders have the power to endorse whoever, even looking at the ground and seeing who's most powerful, they can decide to who to give the ticket to. But
which party leader are we referring to here?
My party leader was Moses Kuria, cabinet secretary. Olive, it takes so much resources to have a political party, to even just establish the foundation of a political party. It has to have physical presence of more than half of the counties we have in Kenya. And that means money. And we know for years women have been economically disempowered. So we don't have as much money as men, our counterparts, who are able to establish political parties in a whim. For example, when I was running for office and I was mobilizing resources, a male counterpart is able to call 10 people and be able to fundraise maybe $1 million. I have to call like 20, 25 people to be able to get $1 million bob. So politics at the end of the day is about money. And that's why when we speak, we say money has to come to the pockets of women too. And that's something I would talk to my cabinet secretary, Waziri, when he was in trade. When you speak about trade, do you bring money to women too? Because when women get money, we're able now to be able to stand on ourselves. We're able to even afford political parties. All
right. So because I also want Cynthia and Wanja to weigh in at this point. There's also the argument that if within these political parties, enough women were nominated for seats, then the 2/3 would not be an issue. have these women, because there are women in this electoral committees. I mean, look at ODM. Women have chaired the electoral process. I mean, what do I call it? Strategy. Even UDA, Veronica Maina. We have women in these offices, in these parties. Have they efficiently or sufficiently, in your view, played their role in the mentorship of women?
Olive, from my own experience, I'd say that when it comes to politics and political parties issuing out nomination certificates to those running for office, there are a few things that they need to check, yeah? And unfortunately, for someone like me who comes from a very patriarchal society, the number one thing they'd say, and one of the things that I was told disqualify me from getting a party nomination certificate is that you are a woman, you are unmarried. The society won't vote for you even if we gave you this party ticket. So I'd say women in these positions at the party level, they need to up their game in mentoring these young people. And also, in as much as we are talking about intergenerational mentorship here, you know, it's supposed to be a cross-pollination of ideas or transfer of ideas from both the older generation and the younger generation. But also, they need to focus on civic education because it all starts at the grassroots levels. Okay. You will hand me the party certificate, but is that, will that woman in the village know that a woman can be voted for? You know, so in as much as we are championing for mentorship, let's also let the parties also put resources aside for civic education. All right.
So Wanja, I'm so sorry, I have to end it there, but we will revisit this conversation. I want to ask, I want to come back and look at what Beth Mugo meant. Because my view was that she was not criticizing nomination of women in political parties and all of and participation. I suppose she meant you're more concerned with the party position than what is good for, more broadly speaking, for the woman. Well, that's it for AM Live. My name is Olive Burrows. We've had in studio Cynthia Kerubo, Wanjiko Thiga. We've also had in studio Wanja Maina, Valentine Otieno from Kisumu. Thank you very much, ladies. Your World coming up with Winnie Lubebe.